Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In the previous video, we have seen about the encapsulation and abstraction content. In today's video, we are going to see the next concepts of Java. Here we have the next concept as interface. So what is an interface? An interface has three meanings. One, it is an intermediate between the service and the consumer. It is also 100% abstraction. It is also called as the rules repository or the coding contract. Now, why do we have to use interfaces? We have so many other things in Java, but yet why do we go for interface? There are mainly three reasons for the use of interface. First one, it is used to achieve abstraction. Next, by interface, we can support the functionality of multiple inheritance. It can be used to achieve loose coupling. It is used to achieve 100% abstraction. That is, abstraction means there will be no implementation for the methods, but the code or the implementation for those particular methods will be written in the implementation classes. Why do we need abstraction? The output of abstraction will be loose coupling. Now, what do you mean by this loose coupling? Loose coupling means if you have a particular program and inside that particular program, if you have multiple programs again. Now, for example, if you have a software comprises of multiple programs. And inside those programs that are there, if you are going to change one part of the program, the another part of the program should not be affected. So that means loose coupling. The opposite of loose coupling is a tight coupling, in which you are going to see some changes in the pro. If you're going to make some changes in the program, it is going to affect the other programs in that particular software. So that was about loose coupling and tight coupling. And by interface, we can support the functionality of multiple interface. Now, what is multiple interface? Whenever you had multiple interface like this, that is creating a subclass from two or more father classes or the parent classes. Here, if there were same methods with different implementation, then we had a problem in writing the implementation, which implementation should be taken. So here, and the constructors were also a problem in case of multiple inheritance. But now here in interface, since this interface will not be having any constructors and the implementation will not be there for the methods, multiple inheritance will be an easy task. Next, let us see how to declare an interface. Interface is declared with a keyword called as interface. Now, in the same way, how you used to declare a class with the keyword class, in the same way to declare an interface, you need to write the keyword interface. So interface, name of the interface, declare constant fields. That is, whenever you are going to write any variables or any data members in your interface, always they will be constant or final. That is, you cannot change the variables that you're going to write inside an interface. Declare methods that are abstract by default, and always the methods that are there in the interface will be abstract. That is, it will not have any implementation. Here you have the example for an interface. Public interface, you can see the interface is written, and here it is written it as I switch. So void switch on, void switch off. There is no implementation for these two methods, and this implementation for these methods should be written in one more class that is called as implementation class. Now this interface becomes the superclass and the implementation class becomes the subclass. Let us see an example of it. You have an interface written here, public interface, iMouse. So inside this iMouse, you have three methods: void click, void right click, void double click. And these methods, since these don't have any implementation classes, you need to write the implementation classes in another class, that is implementation class. Now I have created a class called as CPU IMPL. I have written IMPL just to understand that this is an implementation class. And whenever you are implementing any interface in a subclass, always you need to write the keyword that is called as implements. In the way how we are going to write extends for the inheritance case, you need to write implements for the interface case. So we have implemented it. Once you're going to implement the methods that are there here, they will be overridden and you need to write certain output for them or the logic for them. So for this void click, you have a resource gets selected. For right click, you have display the show options. For the double click, Again, for the right click, there is display or show. Same thing it is there. Just need to cut this one. So for this double click, you have double click. So whenever I'm going to create an output, or whenever I'm going to take the object, whenever I'm going to create a new object of this interface class, always remember you cannot create an object of interface. Why? Because the interface does not have constructors. There are no constructors in the interface, and without the constructor you cannot create an object. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer the interface and I'll be creating an object of CPU IMPL, and after with the reference that is created here, I'm just going to call the methods that are present over here. So once you're going to call them, you're going to get the outputs of the methods that are given here. Let us see the difference between the abstract class and an interface. Interface supports multiple implementations. Abstract class does not support multiple inheritance. Interface does not contain data members. Abstract class contains data members. Interface does not contain constructors. Abstract class contains constructors. An interface contains only incomplete members. An interface contains both incomplete and complete members. An interface cannot have access modifiers by default. Everything is assumed as public. An abstract class can contain access modifiers for the subclasses of functions and properties. Members of interface cannot be static. Only complete members of the abstract class can be static. Next, we have something about abstraction. Abstraction is a process or mechanism of hiding the internal implementation details from the consumer by exposing only the necessary functionalities. In Java, we can achieve abstraction either by using abstract class or by using interface that we have learned just now. Abstraction is one of the most important object-oriented principles. API is the best example for abstraction. Let us see an example how an interface with abstraction is going to look. Here is an example of Beam UPI. So we have made the Beam UPI as an interface, and inside this interface we have only one method, that is transfer, and the parameter for that transfer is int amount, that is what amount should be transferred from the person to the other person. Now here you have public class ICICI implements Beam UPI, public void transfer int money. Now from ICICI Bank, we are transferring some amount. So what will be the implementation? Whatever amount you have added from the ICICI Bank, that money will be transferred. Here we have just written a printout statement, but usually there will be the code of transferring the amount. Then next you have another, the same method that is there in this interface. We have taken it again here and we have implemented it with the help of SBI Bank. And we have transferred some amount from the SBI Bank. Now, afterwards, when I'll be creating a reference for this Beam UPI, since this is an interface, an object cannot be created for the interface. Since you have multiple implementation classes, you can take any of the implementation class constructor from which you want the output to be shown, and you can create an object of that and you can do the necessary here. So what I have done, we have created an object of ICICI Bank and we have transferred rupees 50,000 from that particular account. So this is an example for interface. What is the purpose or the advantage of using abstraction? To achieve loose coupling between the service and the consumer. That is, even if there is any sort of changes at the service side, it is service side, it is not going to affect the consumer, or if there is any problem in the consumer side, it is not going to affect the service. What are the uses of interfaces? To achieve 100% abstraction, we can achieve multiple inheritance. It can be used as a coding contract or rules repository through the functional interface. It can be used to indicate JVM about certain activities through the marker interface. Let us see those examples which we have seen just now of the Beam UPI in Eclipse. And the other example which was there of the mouse click in the Eclipse. Here I have an interface class already and I have already created a package out of it. Now inside this package, I'll just be creating an interface. So in order to create an interface, all you need to do is your right click on interface, new. Here you have right click on the source, new, and here you have the interface. Just click on the interface, give the name for the interface, whatever name you want. Here I'll just be giving the name of the interface as iMouse. I'll just be using I because it is an interface, so that we are going to easily understand that this is an interface that we have created. Mouse is an interface. So I'll just finish it out here. Once this interface is created, here inside this interface, always remember that we need to create the abstract methods. Or even if you're going to give any sort of methods, always it will be in abstract format. So now here, I'll just give public void click. One method, public void right click is another method, and public void double click is another method you have. So there are three methods here: click, right click, and double click. In these three methods, what we need to do is we need to create an implementation class for this now. So in order to create an implementation class is a normal class which you usually create. So source, new, and just create a class. And this I'll just be write as CPU implements. So if I am going to write IMPL, it means that that particular class is an implementation class. Even if you're going to write it also, it is okay. Even if you're not going to write it also, it is okay. IMPL. It is just for your understanding, better understanding that it is an implementation class. And whenever you are implementing it from one particular interface, always remember we need to write the keyword called as implements. Implements iMouse. So now once you're going to write it as implements, okay, let me just change this, implements iMouse. So once this is given as implements here you can see that the CPU IMPL class is having a red mark. So why is this red mark here? So if you just hover on this CPU IMPL class, you are going to see add unimplemented methods as an in is one quick resolve or quick fix that is available for it. You just need to click on this, and automatically all the three methods which are not which do not have any implementation method in the iMouse will be given to you. Now after this, inside these methods you can just give the output for them. I'll just be giving system.out. So system.out.println. Inside this I'm just going to give the statement as mouse clicked. In the same way, for the right click also I'm going to specify one particular click, that is here I'll just give it as mouse right clicked, and again here I'll just give it as mouse double click. Double click. I'll save this program, and to give the output of this program you can also write it in the same class, or also you can write it in the different class. So I'll just be writing it in the same class with the main method to get the output. Main control space main method. Inside this main method we just have to create the object of that particular class. Since you cannot create an object of the interface, we need to create an object of CPU IMPL. So new CPU IMPL constructor. Now again next I'm just going to use yum dot click, and you can see all the methods that are there for this yum class are right here. So it is a double click also is present here, and also right click, m dot right click. I'll just save this program, and whenever you're going to run this program, you can see the output for all the three methods that are shown here, that were there in your interface class but implemented in your CPU class. Now here we go with the output. So this is how exactly you're going to use your interfaces in order to create certain projects. That's all for today's video. In the next video, we are going to see about the next topics of Java. Till then, keep learning. Bye bye.